let's just give him a fine. Okay, I'm doing it. Okay. Was that right or was that wrong? Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. That was stressful. There was nothing telling me whether he's guilty or not. Your spouse mentioned that you no longer have time for your family and that this situation is negatively affecting the children. What are your thoughts? He's very busy, it will get better soon. You're right, I'll solve this issue. I mean, we're a family man, remember? Let's go with this. Choices you make are important for your career. I know, which is why I'm a bit stressed right now, game. Accepting bribes? Oh, no. Mail. Murder case. The result of my research. I don't want to take up much of your time, so I'd like to quickly summarize the outcomes of the recent case. Didn't generate much interest, so no good. However, some citizens thought the case demonstrated our country's capability in matters related to politics. While the case was covered by the written press, it didn't hold a highly prominent position, so the decision didn't receive extensive scrutiny. That's fine. I'm okay with that. The government, on the other hand, is generally pleased with the outcome of the case and the lack of significant media attention. I bet they're happy about that. The Ministry of Justice was curious about your performance, as this was your first case. I bet they were. The government is requesting that you investigate the crime scene for the murder suspicion involved in the next lawsuit. Ooh. Crime scene, please. I'm sure you want to... Yes, I would like to go to the crime scene. Oh. You can click on the points marked with arrows to obtain detailed information. Thanks, Robin. Let's go with number 1, because that's logical. Oh my. Okay. At the crime scene, a corpse identified to belong to Miles Peter was discovered within a container. Additionally, a strong odor is present inside the container. The container is a cold storage unit. Upon a thorough examination of the corpse, it was determined that there are signs of physical assault. Furthermore, there are instances of frostbite and loss of function in various limbs of the deceased. Ah, so he was left to die. Interesting. Number 2, please. In the investigations conducted by the crime team, 2 pills were found on the ground. When they discovered pills were examined in detail by experts, it was determined that they were antidepressants. These pills are sold with a prescription as they require a red prescription, for they can only be obtained with a doctor's recommendation. Occasionally, individuals who use them may experience suicidal thoughts, especially in the early stages. Something to think about. Defendant's attorney. Yep. Rise. Thank you. My client, Lucien Foster, is a prominent and respected businessman. We acknowledged that there was a heated argument between him and the deceased due to the engine failure experienced during the recent ship voyage. However, Lucien has not seen the deceased after that argument. Because you killed him. He personally desires a thorough investigation to shed light on the unfortunate incident. However, he denies the murder allegations brought against him. I'm sure he does. The body of Miles Peter was discovered inside a frozen food container during routine inspections at the port. Following a thorough investigation by our prosecution, it has been determined based on witness testimonies and examined evidence that the incident was committed by Lucien Foster, the CEO of the company. Therefore, we request the punishment of the defendant. Oh, we've got more video. Oh, we get to choose a card. Oh, we're really going to town on the family relationship. It's good. Like I said, we're a family man. Checklist. Oh yeah, let's look at the case file first. Lovely. During routine inspections at the port, a frozen food container was opened, revealing the lifeless body of a man. It was later determined that the deceased was Miles Petter, and I've gone with Petter now for some reason, an employee of the container's owner company. And the ship, what? An employee of the container's owner company and a ship engineer. Yep. Okay. That didn't make sense in my head for a second. The ship experienced a major engine failure in the ocean, and it was learned that this happened due to Miles Petter's failure to conduct adequate checks before the ship's departure. Upon hearing about this, the CEO of the company, Lucian Foster, is reported to have engaged in a heated argument and even physical altercation with Mr. Petter. Oh, we have some witnesses? Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Autopsy report. Finding. There is frostbite in many spots on the corpse. So he... Interesting. So he is frozen to death, basically. There are crushes on the skull of the corpse. Potentially just to knock him out, maybe? And drugs were found in the stomach of the corpse. So they probably were his drugs. Since not all employees were on the ship on the day of the incident, the identifier of the body could not be clearly determined by the police. Based on the statements of people at the scene, it was concluded that the body belonged to Miles Petter, and his brother was invited to identify him. His brother confirmed that it did indeed belong to Mr. Petter. I can't do anything with that. Let's have a look at the videos. I assume this is CEO guy. Oh, that's it. It's just on a loop. Okay, well, there is no physical altercation there. But let's see what some of the peeps have to say. Plaintiff. Under what circumstances and how was the body found? The body was found during routine inspections inside a frozen food container. What are the grounds for the allegations of a heated argument and fight between Lucian Foster and Miles Petter? According to statements from the ship's crew, there was a significant argument and physical altercation between Mr. Foster and Mr. Petter. What is the connection between the death of Miles Peter and Peter and Lucian Foster? Based on our investigations and witness testimonies, it is alleged that Miles Peter's death was caused by Lucian Foster. Great. Fantastic. Defendant, Mr. Lucian, you're a CEO, you say, and you're wearing that in court. Right. What was the reason for the argument during the voyage? It was related to the engine failure of the ship and the responsibilities associated with it. It was a matter of grave concern for the safety of the crew, and I expressed my dissatisfaction and warned him to be more careful. You were accused of killing Miles Peter. How do you respond to this allegation? Am in a state of shock and grief. You have an argument with a man in a legitimate position. Later, that person dies, and you are accused of murder. It must be one of the worst things to happen to a person. Absolutely deny the allegations. I would never go as far as to kill someone. Interesting. Have you ever lost control or believed that you would lose control? This is a very general question. What is its relevance to the case? You're not a lawyer. Oh, this dude has a criminal record. I don't think I have. Okay, can we click on? We can. Interesting. Oh, okay, okay. It's getting interesting. Offense code H465. Change and description violence. 3 months, 9 days. What's it? H465. How do I find out what that is? Yeah, he is tense. That's for sure. Yeah, let's end the listening. Let's have a chat to the witnesses here. Robert Taylor. You're a worker. What is the subject of the argument between Lucien Foster and Miles Petter during the ship voyage? It was related to the engine failure of the ship and the responsibilities associated with it. To put it this way, they were shouting so loudly at each other that I went up because I couldn't believe what was happening. Okay. Can you tell us about the severity and the magnitude of the argument that took place? When I got there, I saw that both of them were engaged in a heated argument. They were hurling severe insults at each other. Such as... what did you do afterward, and did you witness anything? Went back to my post, and to be honest, I thought Miles would lose his job. You can't stay at a workplace after having such a serious argument with the boss. I didn't witness anything else. This guy has no criminal records. Witness number 2, Charles Martinez. Works security. As the person who opened the frozen food container, can you describe how you experienced the incident? I'm not sure how to describe this. I went to the boss's office and brought the medication he asked for. He looked extremely tense. What kind of medication? After giving him the medicine, I left the room and opened the container for routine inspections. When I saw him lying on the ground covered in blood, I was in shock. In what condition and position was Miles Petter's body found inside the container? His body was on the floor inside the frozen food container, and it's really hard to recall without feeling disturbed. Well, yeah, but you're a witness, so you're gonna have to recall. He was covered in blood, and there was a strong odor inside the container. You mentioned you brought medication for the boss. Do you have any info about the purpose of that medication? Of course, everyone, I mean the entire crew, knows about it. I'm talking about the psychiatric help and medication our boss receives due to his high stress levels. So those pills probably were his. But it's weird that they just left there. However, I don't believe he would go as far as to kill someone. You never really know. Also no criminal record. Okay. Brian Scott, please take the stand. What can you tell us about your last interaction with Miles Petter? It was right after the argument, but it was quite brief. I told him he needed to calm down, that everyone can make mistakes, and that things would be okay. We didn't have any further interaction. Okay. Did Miles Petter have any issues or conflicts with anyone else in the crew? As far as I know, he didn't. Miles was a very lively person and well liked by everyone. However, it was known that he was going through some family issues in recent times and had become a bit withdrawn. think his negligence regarding the mistake on the ship may have been related to this. More than likely. Do you believe that Lucian Foster is capable of killing someone? You would agree that accusing a person of murder is a very serious matter. Lucian Foster is a perfectionist, and yes, he doesn't tolerate mistakes, and I can say he was stressed, but if I believed he could kill someone, I wouldn't work for him. He has been done for violence before, though, which is always a concern. Did you observe or notice any unusual situation when you arrived at the scene? Oh, he's an officer. I should look at that. When I first arrived, I saw a crowd gathered around a container and everyone had puzzled expressions on their face. Then I noticed someone lying on the ground and I immediately secured the area. Was Lucian present? No, he was not there when I arrived. In other words, he wasn't there when I got there. Must have been reported to him, and he came later. Based on your investigation of the incident, did you find any suspicious circumstances or individuals such as Lucian Foster's appearance when he arrived later? Based on my investigation of the incident, I did not come across any suspicious circumstances. Okay. Lucian Foster appeared rather indifferent. Perhaps he was in a state of shock at the time and didn't know how to react. It's quite challenging to make any statements about this without engaging in speculation. Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, this is another toughie. This is so hard. I guess so. The location where the incident took place and the evidence can be quite helpful. Man. This is a tough one. Well, they definitely argued. It doesn't appear as though there's anyone else who would even consider hurting him, let alone murdering him. Oh man. I think he did it, honestly. I reckon he probably hurt him and then put him in the freezer. Maybe unintentionally. Like, maybe he didn't realize he was still alive. But, I don't know. He's either innocent or he needs to go to prison. Maybe we say he's innocent? But is he, though? Is he? That someone on that ship had to kill him. You know what I mean? Oh, man. I don't know. I really don't know. We're not finding him. He's either going to prison or we're saying he's innocent. Okay. Is 12 years too long? Let's go with 12. I like 12. He was innocent though, wasn't he? That's probably what it's gonna be. Okay. The government is working on a new immigration bill. What are your thoughts? Yeah, let's say we like them. Rights infringements. Alright. Alright, let's do one more. And then we might... Oh no, I got it wrong, didn't I? Where do I click? It was Richard, right? Yes, Prime Minister. I didn't want our first meeting to be about such a matter. I don't quite understand. The public is eagerly awaiting today's verdict. I have full faith that you will not, that you will do what is right for our country and won't prolong the issue. I don't quite understand what you're saying. It seems I need to be a bit clearer. You won't punish a government institution for doing what's necessary, will you? Ooh, okay. The verdict in the case will be determined in the courtroom. Making such a request is highly inappropriate. I must have misunderstood you. Of course, the reputation at country institutions is much more important than that of a convict. Oh, Mr. Prime Minister, you've put us in a bit of a tricky situation. Let's go middle of the road. You now know my decision. We can talk again after the trial if necessary. Good luck. Oh no, I got it wrong. Defendant from your previous case has approached us believing the decision was incorrect. Yeah, thought he might have been innocent. Conducting deaths you made in... Oh gosh. Although the parties engaged in a violent altercation, there's not evidence that one of them killed the other. $100 been sent to... Yeah. Yep. If in doubt, just say they're innocent. Pre-trial. Ah, yes. Yes, please. Defendant's attorney. My client, Kabadi Prison Administration, would like to remind that there are conditions that criminals must adhere to as stipulated by the law. The regulations prescribe punishment for prisoners who do not adhere to these conditions. Albert Neuron was found to have skipped a meal during the cafeteria hours and initiated a hunger strike, which led to his sentencing to solitary confinement. Starting a strike is prohibited against the prison regulations, and the punishment is solitary confinement. There is no basis for the unfounded claims of the plaintiff. Okay. Let's hear the plaintiff's attorney. My client is serving his sentence at Kabadi Prison for the crime he committed. However, in recent days, an action has been taken, such as sentencing my client to solitary confinement despite his not exhibiting any negative behaviour. You started a strike. The prison administration has abused its authority during the process. My client has experienced psychological and physical distress. We are filing a complaint against the prison administration for this reason. Witness Laura has a closer relationship with the prison warden. Alright, let's not hear from her. Let's go this one. Ah. Okay. Silence. Everyone be seated. Case file. Alright. Prisoner Albert, although he did not exhibit any negative behaviour during his time in prison, claimed that he was sentenced to solitary confinement and suffered psychological harm as a result, and therefore he filed a lawsuit against the prison administration. He alleged that he was subjected to inhumane treatment and that the prison administration unlawfully implemented its duties and responsibilities. The prison administration, on the other hand, stated that the prisoner was sentenced to solitary confinement because he did not comply with the necessary instructions and conditions, and there was no unlawful situation. Inmate status, it provided information about the prisoner's condition. Provides information. Okay, let's have a look. Inmate status. It's been determined that the prisoner has not eaten for 3 days. It's been determined that the prisoner has initiated a hunger strike by refusing to eat in prison. Despite the necessary warnings by prison staff, he continued the strike. It's been decided to examine the prisoner in the infirmary due to potential health issues he may receive. Inmates cannot pose a security threat to prison staff. Inmates cannot attempt to escape from prison. Inmates cannot engage in violent behavior with other inmates. Inmates cannot initiate a hunger strike. Inmates cannot participate in riot or rebellion activities. Cannot jeopardize their personal safety. Cannot smuggle contraband within the prison. Cannot continuously violate the rules. So he has initiated a hunger strike and he is continuously violating the rules. Let's keep that in mind. What were your behaviours before being sentenced to solitary confinement? I did not exhibit any negative behaviour in prison. I followed all the rules. Did you experience any illegal intervention during the solitary confinement process? Certainly. However, since the witnesses presented to the court are from the prison administration, they will not mention it. Did you have any intention to incite a riot? Never. I never had such an intention. I am only defending my rights because I believe I did not deserve solitary confinement. Yes, let's have a look. Murder. Lovely. 6 years, 5 months, 20 days. And the listening, please. Talk to the defendant. Why did the prisoner not eat during cafeteria hours and start a hunger strike? Prisoner exhibited behavior contrary to prison discipline and initiated a hunger strike, perhaps in a somewhat amusing way. He aimed to establish a power balance over the prison administration, but you will agree that this is not possible. Is the regulation applied to the prison in compliance with the law, or was there any behaviour that was not in accordance with the law? It's entirely in compliance, sir. As you know, there are certain provisions under Article 13 for such situations. Prison administration has used its authority within the framework of the regulations to maintain order. How is the situation of the prisoner sentenced to solitary confinement evaluated? The situation of prisoners sentenced to solitary confinement is evaluated based on their non-compliance with the prison regulations and the appropriate prison. Let's hear from some witnesses. Can you provide information about the behaviour of the prisoner sentenced to solitary confinement? The prisoner lifted the tray placed in front of him and threw it on the floor, sir. Afterwards, he started yelling, "Hunger strike! Revolt! Don't be a herd! Hunger strike!" What was the psychological condition of the prisoner before being sentenced to solitary confinement? There was no noticeable or unusual change in his general mood beforehand. However, I can say that he exhibited more tense behaviour after solitary confinement. Perhaps he succumbed to a desire for revenge. Earlier, you mentioned the prisoner's behaviour inciting revolt. Was this behaviour supported by other prisoners, or do you think it was a planned protest as a group? No, Your Honour. It was just watched in astonishment by everyone. Some were indifferent, some just laughed. There's no evidence that he planned this with others. In my opinion, it was spontaneously developed outburst of personal anger. What do you know about the situation of the prisoner sentenced to solitary confinement? Prisoner's behaviour was evaluated according to the prison regulations and acted upon in accordance with the law, sir. Was there any situation or disproportionate intervention that would negatively affect the prisoner's psychology? Frankly, there is no evidence of such a thing, sir. To maintain order, the regulations stipulated by the law were followed. What are your thoughts on the prisoner's allegations? Your Honour, prisoners sometimes exhibit such behaviours to escape from their environment. Since I am not fully informed about the events in the current case, it would not be ethical for me to make a definitive statement. Right. I think we're not gonna sentence him to more imprisonment. Alright, let's just go with that. Why is he clapping? Public's demanding increase penalties for murder and theft. Should take it to public's demand. Consider it quite good for now. Well, we should be listening to people's concerns. Alright. I think we're going to end it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.